Yahoo. What a rush it must have been, right? And yet, where was the success? What was that? What were some of the nightmares?
Is there any press in the room?
Jerry Yang not returning a call. What happened?
No.
This is good.
So, prior to going public at GeoCities, I don't know if you know this, but Yahoo was actually an investor in GeoCities. And like there often is at companies, there was a board of directors email list. It's like board@geocities.com. And Jerry Yang, who had to resign his observer seat on the board of directors once the company went public, was inadvertently left on the board@geocities.com email list. And so in November of '98, about 3 months after we'd gone public, we got an unsolicited offer from another company, which of course was discussed on board@geocities.com, and unknown to us at the time, right in front of Jerry Yang. So, in January, when the other deal started to heat up, Yahoo was seeing all of this.
Okay.
So, when we're talking about nightmares, when we realized that this was going on, this was a problem. In the end, it worked out fine. Shareholders did well, everybody did well, but it was a crazy, crazy time.
But you didn't say what the problem was. So I understand theoretically.
Oh, the problems were numerous. I mean, we had David Bonet, who's the co-founder of the company, one of the leading voices, he was chairman of the board. He wanted one deal. You know, some of the board members wanted another deal. Some of the other board members wanted a third deal. For me personally, you know, I felt caught in the middle. I mean, there were hours and hours of late night phone calls. You know, and when I say late night, I mean, you know, get on the phone at 9 o'clock at night, get off the phone at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, just trying to negotiate the deals. And I just remember my head feeling like it was going to explode constantly.
Now, it's funny you mentioned that head exploding thing. So one time I was
Didn't feel funny at the time.
no, that's right, I did. But what it reminds me of, one time I was trying to sell a drug rehab facility. So I wasn't a patient, but I was involved with the company.
How many different businesses is this guy doing?
A lot. And most of them didn't work out. But this drug rehab facility, we put together a nice story, because ultimately a lot of business is storytelling. And a company that was national didn't have a presence in Connecticut. And fortunately, the president of this company was the Senate Minority Leader in Connecticut, so licensing wasn't an issue. And then suddenly the owner of the company calls me up. So we got an offer, right? I called 20 companies, 6 phone calls arranged, 3 meetings, 2 offers, 1 accepted. The first offer was $10 million cash. The offer we accepted was $41 million cash. So not GeoCities numbers, but I was going to be very happy because I was negotiating the deal. And then the owner of the company that calls me up and says, you know, we just got $41 million. We got an offer for $41 million cash. I bet if we helped out, I'm going to get $81 million cash next year. And I was lying in bed, and I was honestly totally broke. And I was sleeping in my 4-year-old's bed at the time. And I could feel like every blood cell in my body just like coursing through it. Nothing was going to make me sleep. And so the next day I figured out what to do. I called the guy's wife, who was very pretty and 30 years younger than the owner of the company, and I said, tell me what you did on the job yesterday. And she said, well, I cleaned the shit off the wall. We had an decided to act out and shat all over the wall. And I had to clean it up. And I said, you know, tomorrow, I'm not going to scare you, but tomorrow that same teenager might commit suicide. And then all this deal's off the table. I really want to spend the next 10 years cleaning shit off walls. So later that day, the owner of the business calls me and says, yeah, we're going to take that 41 million. But I just remember thinking how so stressed I was, like I could really feel the blood all through my body, and I never want to feel that again. Like it's just not worth it. The agony.
Yes, I think, you know, in 1999, as an investor for Flatiron, I was on the boards of 5 companies that were acquired. It was a crazy, crazy time. But I'd rather be an investor in that situation than an entrepreneur, because watching what those entrepreneurs went through, and even, you know, just as they thought about what would happen to the company, you know, how would they handle it, what would they go through, it was enormously painful. My favorite acquisition story was actually Gainesville. Even though it was less money, it was still a great return. Gainesville was founded by a guy named Steve Kane, and I love Steve. Dan, you here? Where are you, Dan? Dan knows Steve Kane. And Steve was great. The tagline on Gainesville was the world's largest bingo site on the web. And the tagline was, wasting your time since 1996. And we invested $15 million in the company in June of '99. And in September 1999, this is how crazy the times were, H&Q, Hamburg and Quest, wanted to take the company public. I think we were doing $40 million in revenue. And Lycos, which was, does anybody remember Lycos? That was my first investment. First search engine. Before there was a Google, and there was life before Google, there was Lycos. And Lycos was publicly traded at the time and making acquisitions. Lycos came calling, and they offered $250 million to the company. And Steve Kane said something really powerful to me. The board wanted to turn down that offer and go public. And Steve called me up one day and told me this story. He said, Jerry, my father worked for 40 years building his company. And his company made plastic specimen cups. So you peed in his father's company's products. And when he died at his desk. And I had to step in, and I liquidated the company and sold it, and I handed my mother a check for $1 million. And that was the sum total of my father's life work. And Bob Davis, who was the CEO of Lycos at the time, was offering Steve the equivalent of $60 million for 5 years' work of wasting your time since 1996. And he said, I'd be a fool not to take this money. And what happened in March of 2000? Do you remember the NASDAQ? You know, the NASDAQ had its single biggest drop ever, and there were 300 or 400 companies in the chute ready to go public, and we would have been one of them, and we never would have exited. All because Steve had the brilliance of mind to say, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Cash and stock deal?
Cash and stock.
So Joe, I have to tell you a story then.
Sure.
So from the story from 1993 or 94. So at the time I was working on a computer programmer. I was working on this machine translation project, but I never actually worked. Like programming was an easy job then. And so I was playing online chess till midnight, 1 in the morning. I go to the bathroom, not to pee in a cup or anything, but I run into this guy coming out. I'm like, what are you doing here at 1 in the morning? And he said, well, you know my PhD And I was thinking, boy, that guy's a sucker. He's never going to get funding for that. So the name of his computer was lycos.csu.edu.
Fuzzy Mullen.
Yeah, Fuzzy Mullen. So he started Lycos and made like $200 million. So when it comes to me living in the past, I think to myself, why didn't I just say, hey, I'd like to help out. Come back when you're mature enough, and I haven't come back yet. So, but Lycos, actually it exists in India. India company bought it.
Yeah, well, the Spanish Telefonica bought it, then they sold it to a Korean company, and the Korean company sold it to an Indian company, so it's still out there in the world, but that was back in the day when you could index the entire web and have it reside on a single server sitting on Michael Maltman's desk at Carnegie Mellon. And it would take about a half an hour to crawl every single web page that existed. And then it was done.
And it again brings me back to living in thinking about the past. Like, I look back, having these web crawlers was open source. Anybody could have made a search engine. Anybody could have made an online calendar or an online email system.
Anybody could have created a browser.
Yeah, and look, GeoCities, the technology was not rocket science. Facebook had repeated it. And you never know what's going to succeed or fail. Which is why I'm kind of bringing it back. No matter what our efforts are, and our efforts could all be good and admirable, and we could be hardworking, we could pay with all the unhappiness we want, but there's no guarantees. So there's no, fuzzy search engine made out that succeeded, and ultimately we can't control the world, and I think that's a hard thing for a lot of not just entrepreneurs but people in general. They think they have to have a purpose. They have to have some direction that they can control, so they can steer between the lines, and then they'll get to their destination. And the universe wasn't built with roads, so it doesn't usually work like that. I mean, I don't know how you see that from your entrepreneurs.
No, I think you're right, and I think in the end, not to beat a dead horse, but in the end, the desire to have roads, the desire to have control, the desire to know what the future's going to bring just stems from fear.